Hello, welcome to Wise Revise session 13. This session is all about how to cram for an exam. Now listen, I've been working in schools now for a decade and I have seen the same tragic story play out many times with students that I teach. It goes like this. There's a bright young student in year 7. Let's call him Timothy. Now Timothy is smart. He nailed it in his primary school tests. When he's in class now and the teacher asks a difficult question, he's the one with his hand up with the right answer time after time after time. He answers questions that the other students in his class, they just can't get. And when a topic test comes around, an end of topic test, he absolutely smashes it. He scores between 90 and 100% on every single one. How does he do that? Well, he gets his notes together the night before the exam and he goes through them and he reads them. And when he's feeling confident it's all in there, he turns up, smashes the test. He does this time and time again, term after term, school year after school year. But then something happens. Timothy has his first big end of year test in year 10. And he scores between 50 and 70%. Nowhere near those 90 to 100% that he was getting before. Not as low as some others in his class, but not as high as the standard that he had set and seen for his school career so far. This is the most important warning sign in his whole educational journey, and he doesn't heed it. Instead, he just continues on as though nothing has changed. He doesn't change a thing. He's like someone suffering from congenital insensitivity to pain disorder, you know? It's like someone who stood on a nail and doesn't realize it's there and just keeps on walking, driving that nail further and further in. When a teacher asks him if he knows how to revise, he says, yeah, I know how to revise, because he's naively confident that what he's always done in the past is always going to work. But if I'm honest, he's like someone who's only ever played foot with his brother, getting into the ring with Mike Tyson. And then the GCSEs come and go. And it gets to results day. He opens his envelope and he sees his underachievement on a piece of paper in numbers and letters. And boom, he gets punched in the heart and he realizes that his strategy didn't work. Timothy is a crammer, and cramming just does not work for big end of course assessments like GCSEs and A-levels. If you've watched my earlier video on the most effective way to revise, all about practice testing, then you will know about the analogy I use with the desk and the filing cabinets. The concept goes like this. When you revise, you want to store information in your long-term memory, and you want to improve your brain's ability to access that information. And then when you get to your exam, you're able to, in your brain, be able to pull out the information you need from your long-term memory and then use it in your working memory to answer a question. That's how effective revision works. You put the work in on the build up to the exam, storing that information in your filing cabinet, and then you get into the exam. There's the exam paper, you're bringing that information to mind and then you're putting it to work in the answers that you're working through. That is effective revision, and the best way to do that is through practice testing. Please watch my video on it if you haven't already. It should be really helpful to you. Now when you cram, what you're effectively doing is you're filling your working memory with information. I don't know if you can see it back here. Here's my desk good. To cram basically means I'm going to get as much information as I can, and I'm just going to, get it all the night before the exam, just get it all ready here. Yeah, there's that, I remember that, get it all in my working memory, and then the next day when I go to sit the exam, it makes sense I'm going to do all right. Because there's a small amount of information I've used for an end of topic test. It's all there still in my working memory, and hey look, I'm in the exam now and of course I'm bringing it to mind and I'm using it in my working memory. So cramming would work for a small test, but it just is not effective for a GCSE or an A-level because there is far too much content. However, there is a time and a place to cram, especially if you have not revised effectively on the build up to your exam. So potentially you're watching this the day before an exam and you're like, whoa, Mr. Wood, I need to learn how to cram. Can you help me for an exam tomorrow? So the purpose of this video is to show you how to do that effectively. Now I would say you should never have to cram because you should have done that effective revision months before, and cramming pales, like cramming is down here in terms of its effectiveness, and effective revision practice, practice and testing, distributed practice and deliberate practice. Watch my other videos. That is how you smash an exam. But if you have to cram, I might as well show you the best way to do it. Here's how to cram like an absolute boss. Number one, be prepared. Now, potentially, you're not very well prepared at all because you're having to cram. But for cramming, you need to get everything ready before you start. You're going to need some food, a lot of water. You're going to need the revision resources you're going to use. You're going to need a timer, preferably not a phone, but if you have to use a phone, you have to use a phone. I'll talk about that in a minute. Then you need ready to go. You need a checklist for what you need to know for the exam. If you've left it super late, you might be shocked about what's on that checklist, but you can't be fazed by that now. You've left it to the last minute. We need to get through this. You need that checklist there. And again, just prepare yourself for the fact that you might have a couple of shocks coming your way. You might be like, oh my goodness, we have to know this? That just might happen. And you just need to work through that and just keep on going because it's cram time. And when it's cram time, you just go for it. And number three, be disciplined. Now, at this point, what's more important to you before an exam than cramming is sleep, rest, and food. So you need to, before you start doing any of this, work out what time your perfect bedtime is to get the most amount of sleep possible and plan your breakfast for the next day. So you know, at that time, I'm cutting off, I'm going to bed, and first thing in the morning, you know exactly what you're going to eat and the day is ready to go. Do not stress. If you stress and you stay up late, you're going to fill your mind with cortisol, that stress hormone that's going to make you not think straight, and you're going to underachieve. And so cramming would then not help you at all. It would actually harm you. So make sure you get a rest, you lower your stress, and you plan your breakfast as well for the next day. All right, let's get down to it. Divide your desk in two. If you're right-handed, put your pad of paper and your pen to the right and your resources to the left. Put your timer in front of you. I'd recommend not using a phone, but if all you've got is a phone, turn your notifications off or use an app like Forest. Now you need 7 hours sleep minimum. So you work out your cutoff point and you put that in now. Set a 20-minute timer. Go through the course content, say things out loud to yourself, write down anything that you have forgotten or that had surprised you or that had seemed weird. Speak things out. Do hand actions that might help you remember things. Keep going. When the 20 minutes is up, cover up the pad. Say out loud what you remember that is written on it. Test yourself. Turn the pad back round. What did you forget? Go through it. What was on that pad that you'd forgotten to say? Highlight it, circle it, say it out loud. Draw a picture to help you remember. Have a sip of water and keep on going. Repeat the same thing. Anything that seems weird, anything you've totally forgotten about, write it down. Draw a box around it, highlight it, draw an image next to it. Say it out loud. 20 minutes is up, cover it up, test yourself. What did you forget? What did you remember this time? Once you've done an hour, it's exercise time. That's right, down to the ground. 10 push-ups or half push-ups, 10 star jumps, back to it again. Go to the loo when you need to. Have food when you need it or use it as a reward, but be sensible in what you do. Don't have anything with a load of sugar in it that's going to mess your brain up in terms of a sugar rush, and then keep on going. Don't go crazy on the caffeine. I've seen students before make a huge mistake. Oh, I've got a test the next day. I need to stay up and revise and be alert. I'll drink a coffee when I don't normally drink coffee, and then it goes horrifically wrong. They stay in bed the whole night, tossing and turning, 2 hours in. Why can't I sleep? Why can't I sleep? Oh, I'm stressing about the exam. You drank coffee and you're not used to it. So leave the caffeine alone. When it's bedtime, that's it. That's the cutoff point. You're done, okay? You've done all you can do. You now need to focus on rest. So get into bed safe in the knowledge that you've done all you can. If you're a praying person, you send a prayer up right there. Father God, I know I could have prepared better for this, but I've crammed as best I can. Help me out tomorrow, Lord, in this exam. And make sure you set an alarm. Right, the morning after, you grab those notes, go through them again, say things out loud, test yourself, repeat, go through it again, test yourself, keep on going. Get to the exam, you're about to go in, one last look, there it all is. Don't stress about it, just have a look. What can I remember? All right, what's key? What did I keep forgetting? That's the thing I'm going to remember. Get in there and smash it. Again, cramming is for those of you who haven't done the right thing, who haven't done the effective revision process on the whole build up to your exams. It pales in comparison to effective revision and a set plan that you stick to using practice testing, deliberate practice and distributed practice. Learn from the mistakes of others. Revise early. Don't be like Timothy the Tragic. Be wise with how you revise.